All right, a health of information. Okay, so Fluttershy goes with Zecora, and they're like in the middle of the forest, and they're collecting this special like fungus from a pond, and it's like algae that floats on the surface, and it's just trying to help out Fluttershy. She needs it for a potion for some of her animals, right? And so Fluttershy is here, and Zecora is kind of like, being ballsy and getting everything. So she's like leaning over and holding onto this branch so that she can reach this like algae in the water. And as she's like leaning, into the ocean or into the lake, she loses her grip and she kind of like falls in. She flops in. She falls into the lake and she just like gets, a bunch of gross stuff all over her. And she's got to sort of swim out, so she swims out. And as she's swimming out, like there's this flower that's floating in the water, and it puffs up this smoke like all around her face and in like her whole body. And she gets like, she inhales all this crap and all this smoke, and she's like just a lot of stuff. And so she gets out of the water and she gets like all these weird like orange polka dots on her body, and she has like no clue what's going on. And so they go back and they go to her home, and they realize that like she has this really strange, and they get Twilight, so Twilight helps them, and she finds this disease in a book. And it's this disease that was cured a long time ago by May Maleweather, this like special medicine pony. And so they try to figure out, it was so rare, and like only this one person ever knew about like how to cure it and how to solve it. And so they go to the expert's house in the middle of this forest, far away, and she lives in like a tree house. And as they go to her home, like they realize that she's long gone. She was very old, and so like ancient medical research. And the only person there was like her brother, her younger brother, and so he sort of just lives in her house. And so they come over to him and they say, "Hey, look, our friend here is super sick, and we need your help. Can you help us? Because we need to figure out like the solution. We need to figure out the cure to this disease. And your sister was like the only one who ever knew about it." So he says, "Sure, yeah," and he gives them access to like all the research that they ever did, because they were like, she was one of the top nurses like on the whole planet, right? She was like the coolest, the top gun, top dog, an awesome helper. And they like look at all of her old journals and her books and her maps, and they find this old mask that she had, which is like super cool. And they're looking at all of her research. And as they're doing this, what this disease does is it turns whoever gets it into a tree. So that's kind of bad. They get turned into a tree like within a week, and so they only have like a couple of days to like save Zecora, because it's been a couple of days at this point. They don't really want her to turn into a tree because that would be bad. And so they're pouring through this, and as they're doing it, like they realize that like Fluttershy has contracted this disease as well from Zecora or whatever. And so now she's super sick, and so they're both like turning into trees, which is bad, and they don't really want that to happen. They go through all these like really weird and gross like sickness symptoms, and it's just bad stuff. And as they're reading through it, they realize that the cure is in this tree nearby, and they need to. There's like this bee nest, this beehive, and in the bee they're called flash bees, right? And so flash bees, they're just like these bees that like have magic electricity flowing through them somehow. And they need to collect honey from the flash bees, and the honey from the flash bees cures the disease. It's like the one cure for the disease. And so they take the next logical step in their plan, in their lives. They go over to the flash bees, right? And Fluttershy, she's really good with animals, so she just sort of like drifts up here, comes in, and says, "Hey guys, can I just like steal your honey, please, just a little bit?" And these guys get pissed, and she tries to do like the stare on them, but it just doesn't work. And so because it just doesn't work, she gets stung and really messed up, electrocuted, and she falls out of this tree, and it really hurts. I mean, she's got to go back over here, and she basically sleeps for like 3 days because she like really got messed up. And she realizes that she needs a different approach, right? This idea that, like, if it doesn't work, you need to figure out reasons why it didn't work and then overcome those reasons and try again, right? So you don't just try it blindly again, you're actually trying it again with a new approach so that this new approach can work better and it can have a bigger impact. And also, she was, like, critically injured from, like, falling out of this tree and getting electrocuted. And so, like, she needs a better way to do this because obviously her way just did not work, which is a shame. And as she's looking through, like, all of Mage Meadowbrook's stuff and everything that she had that she used long time ago to cure her mother of this disease when she had it, she finds like all her research papers and everything she has, but a lot of it has been destroyed, a lot of it she can't really find. But she gets this mask, right? And this mask that was in her house, it reminds her of, like, what these bees, like, actually looked like. And she thinks, like, if she were these bees, like, obviously she wouldn't be the happiest with somebody stealing her honey. But kind of more importantly, she thinks about what they see. She, like, looking through their eyes. What do they see as a leader? What do they see as a source of authority, like, to respond to, right? And so for her, she realizes that, like, these bees, they follow their queen, right? They follow their leader. And the queen bee looks remarkably similar to what, like, this huge mask looks like. And so in Fluttershy, she connects the dots, right? 2 + 2 is 4. She realizes that, like, she needs to pretend to be the queen with this mask. So she puts this mask on, right? And she goes back over here. But this time it's not just the same, or it's not the same as the past. She has this mask, right? She puts on this mask. And she slowly approaches the hive, slowly approaches the bees. And by using this new perspective, she gets in front of them all. And she puts herself in the face of danger. She puts herself in front of the risk and says that it's worth it and that she is going to make this happen. And the bees, they see her, and they get cautious a little bit at the beginning, but they sort of work through it, right? And they accept her as the leader, and they all fly out of the hive, and they let her stick her hand in and get all this, electric bee honey, and then go home and give it back to, first of all, she has some, and then she gives some to Zecora, and then they both get cured of this disease, right? And so by focusing on what the group can do and focusing on taking everyone together as like a collective mastermind and leveraging the information and the knowledge that others have and the work that others have already done to create these tools to solve their problems, they have huge levels of success. And so often, like, people that have these problems and they go, like, super hard into them and they just try to brute force their way in without taking a moment to step back and to look at the situation and say, just for a minute, what if there was a tool that I could use to get here faster? Great example, like when I started investing, like there weren't really any quality sources of financial education in the marketplace. And so I didn't really have anything to base like my investments off of. So I just brute forced my way in front of these flash bees, into the beehive, into the sting, like into the challenge, into the depth, into the world, right? It was ridiculously difficult. And I got my butt stung a bunch. And I fell out of this tree so many times with some of my first losing investments. It was really, really tough. I mean, just so much challenge. And so the best way to approach any new situation and anything that you want to do, right, is to bring, first of all, like your power base and your friends into a group, into a mastermind. And then seek out the top experts in that field, right, or in whatever it is you want to do, and leverage the tools and the research that they've already done, and you're going to have results 10 times faster, 100 times faster, 1,000 times faster. Because that simple strategy changes absolutely everything and completely replaces your positioning into one of authority and significance and growth that all stems from your ability to raise your hand and say, I need help, and then find the people that can give you that help. Find the top experts and the ones who will give you the answers, and follow them and listen to them and do what they say. Mage Meadowbrook, her journal, right? Her notebook. All right, awesome. Okay, so Marks and Recreation. So this one is pretty cool. So the Cutie Mark Crusaders, they decide that the best way they can help a lot of people to, find their cutie marks at the same time is to start like a summer camp. And so they start this summer camp, and everybody comes over to the summer camp that doesn't have a cutie mark so that they can come and they can create their cutie mark, which is like the coolest thing ever, right? And so since they're here, they're doing like a ton of activities. And so like when the CMC, when they were originally learning, right, they were in this learning stage and they were doing all these activities. That's pretty much what they want to take these kids through. They want to take them through this learning phase where they go through all these activities and try to find like one thing. They go through, multiple tons and tons and tons and tons of things, so they can find that one thing that they're super passionate about and that they really, really like. And so that's the goal here. So the chick in the box is going through thing after thing after thing to figure out what they like. And so they're just doing like a ton of really, really cool like activities just to figure out, what their passions are. And that's their idea, right, for the camp, and that's their idea for, what the best path is to help these guys figure out, what their talents are, what the purpose is, what they're passionate about, and sort of like, most importantly, where they want to be in the future and with their lives, which is like super, super cool. And that's like what works so, so, so well for them, and kind of more importantly, for the people around them, right, which is like really, really, really cool. And so as they're doing this camp, there's this one guy, right? And as they're doing this, they're helping, so many young ponies get their, like on the first day, right? On the first day, like one of them gets their cutie mark, and like that's their whole success. That's their whole goal, right? Like with everybody that comes to them, they have so many people coming to them, and they all want to get their cutie mark, and they have that success on the first day, which is like so cool. And so like they're really, really good because they have this mastermind, they have this great connection with everyone at creating these results. And so, because they start to get really good reputation, there's this one Wonderbolt named Thunderlane. And Thunderlane, he is like he flies his whole life. It's what he loves to do. It's his passion. And his younger brother, Rumble, also really, really wants to be like a great flyer like his brother. But he sort of has like trouble with it, and he hasn't had his cutie mark yet. It doesn't really know, what his special talents are just yet. And so, Thunderlane forces him to go over to this cutie mark camp. Because he tells them, look, you can't be a blank forever, right? You have to figure out, what you're passionate about and what your skill is and what you're going to specialize in and do with your life. And as Rumble comes in, he plays, he starts to rile everybody up, and he forms this huge group to sort of join in on his perspective. And it explains so well, so we're going to listen to this song.
Cutie marks are great, they say. Yeah, right. They make you special in your way. But that special mark that's just for you will erase the stuff you like to do.
So, no more painting? No more haiku? Rumble, stop! That's just not true!
So you're good at charming snakes. Too bad. Or you bake delicious cakes. Oh well. Maybe there are lots of things that you like to do. Well, your options get pretty stark once you got that cutie mark. Blank flanks are better, no pony to tell you who you have to be. Blank flanks are better, keep your spirits soaring free. So listen up, cause I ain't lying. Don't need no mark, so why keep trying? If you like just being you, then keeping that blank is a thing to do.
Cutie marks don't limit you! They only show you what you can do!
But what if you can't do a thing? These cutie marks are frustrating.
You say there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, exactly!
A blank is the way for you. It's no work to just be who you are. No hunt to be some cutie star. You're perfect just being you. Don't bother with what you cannot do. Blank flanks are better. No pony to tell you who you have to be. Blank flanks are better. Keep your spirits soaring free. So listen up, cause I ain't lying. You ain't no mark, so I keep trying. If you like just being you, then keeping that blank is the thing to do.
Blank flanks, forever.
That's it, blank flanks. Be proud of who you are. You don't need some
And so because he struggles so much to figure out like what he wants to do in his life, and he is so torn about like dedicating everything he has to one thing like his brother has, and the biggest challenge for him too is that his brother, like, he's always flying away, he's always got work, right? Because, like, you know, the Wonderbolts, they are like constantly practicing and they have performances and they do like all this stuff, and so he feels like so harmed and hurt by not being able to spend so much time with his family, and it crushes his spirits and his personality. And he decides that, like, instead of trying to, you know, embrace this pain, and instead of taking this short term, like, you know, the difficulties of figuring out what the root of this problem is, and then having like a long-term growth projection because of that, because he figures out what needs to happen now so that he can have like a total overarching direction for his life. What he does is he takes like the short-term option of like doing nothing, right? And saying that they shouldn't do anything, they shouldn't have any purpose, and they shouldn't have any direction. And like in like the short term, yeah, sure, you know, it's cool, we just party around all day. But these guys, they get super bored really quickly because they have nothing to do with their lives. They have no purpose, they have no direction. And this is where, like, you know, you see so many people where they like just don't know what they're passionate about, right? And it's this same mentality of like never picking anything to specialize in and never like having that one core thing that is like them, right? And so for me, like building assets, right? Like, it's so cool, and it's like the best thing ever, but like it's not like the only thing I like to do, right? And so it's the same with Thunderlane. Like Thunderlane, you know, sure, right? He's flying all over the place, but it's not like the only thing he likes to do. He's got other interests. He does other things, right? He's a like super big into cooking. Like for me, like I realized like when you pick a direction, right, there are certain things that you're not going to pursue. Like I know, like I'm super into music, right? But like music production is just not my thing, you know? Like I would love to just sit all day at a keyboard and have fun, you know, jamming out. But like that's not like my thing, right? And it's not productive. And it's cool for like entertainment and on the side. But like you've got to pick that thing that is your strength, right? And go hard and go deep and go fast with it, which is just like the goal, right? And it's so powerful. And it all comes from this idea. And so this guy, he is like freaking delusional, right? And he's trying to lead all these individuals away from the CMC, who have literally been doing this their entire lives, and figuring out direction and purpose for like everything that they've done is so important to them. And to him, it's this idea of running away and never really facing the problem. And instead of like actually doing what needs to happen, and instead of, you know, embracing reality, embracing the world around him, he just runs away. He just can't do that forever. It's just not the right thing for him and for those around him. It just doesn't work. And so for like his methods, right, and his goals are all based around running away and escaping reality and escaping responsibility, and never growing up. And it crushes all the potential growth he has and destroys his personality. So what do they need to do? Well, they need to move past this. They need to push so hard in a direction of clearness and of clarity and of growth that, like, yeah, you know, in the beginning it's going to be tough because you have to go through a bunch of stuff that maybe you won't do forever, and maybe it's difficult. But it's so much better than sitting there and doing nothing and not trying and putting in no effort because you're afraid to fail. This is like the number one thing, right? Like, you can't be afraid to fail. They're trying these different things so that they can fail, because failure is just part of the process. Failure is a necessary step on the way to growth, on the way to success. It all stems from failure. The CMC, they failed at so much before they figured out what they wanted to do. And it's not like they don't do anything after they find their talents, but they do it so well, and they have such a great impact on society and the world around them because of what they specialize in and because of the work they do. And so, like, all you have to do, right, is focus deeply on the impact that you have and the future that you're working towards, and like everything changes, right? And that's exactly what happens with Thunderlane, and kind of more importantly, what happens with Rumble. And so at the end of the episode, they just come together and they Rumble comes and the CMC, they get Rumble and they tell him what's going on, and Rumble realizes that like his brother is so sad and he feels so inferior to him because like he's had all this massive success, but you know, Rumble, like he hasn't really done anything, right? And he's still trying out. He's younger, right? So he doesn't have as much time, as much experience doing things in reality. And so, you know, he comes and he sits down with him and he says, look, dude, like I really like to cook, and look, I'm still cooking like all the time. It's just not my focus, right? My focus is what I'm best at, right? Which is flying and with the Wonderbolts. And so like he has to take him through this journey, right? He can't force Rumble to go and want to be special and stop worrying about getting his cutie mark and all this crap. Like he can't force him to do anything. But he can gradually take him through this process and show him that, look, like you don't have to be bound your whole life by this one special thing. Like it's not like all I do is trade stocks, right? Like or run companies, like you build assets. Like you know, you could do other things, right? It's not a big deal. It's just like their specialty. And as soon as like Rumble realizes that and he understands this concept that like he can do whatever he desires and he can have the impact he wants by simply working towards the future he desires, like everything changes for him. And he realizes that it's not a big deal. And like he should care about his cutie mark and he should care about getting it, but not that much. And he sort of changes his belief, his mindset, and he understands this idea that like eventually, right, like everyone has to grow up. And for these guys, like growing up means getting their cutie mark and then having a purpose and a mission and a, you know, a specialized career in life. And it's the same for everybody, right? And so for him as a kid, like he doesn't have to really worry about it at all because there's no motive for him to do anything. And it's weird because like the more responsibility you take on, at least like with the experience I've had, right? Like after my parents got divorced, like it was so different for me because like I was on this growth path that I don't think it's weird because like, you know, I was like pushed hard to like, you know, provide quickly, and it sort of like made me like man up and like get going and providing, you know, economic base and like getting work and changing myself and all this personal development and investments and like everything changed. Like when you have that responsibility. And for him, like he doesn't have any responsibility. And so like there's no reason for him to worry about it, but at the same time, he can't complain. He can't be negative. He can't, you know, hurt other people's paths, right? Like when I was growing up and when I was like, you know, changing my body and losing like 50 pounds and getting the confidence to go and get like that first job. If like someone came, they had this huge rally about why like nobody should ever get jobs and no one should have minimum wage jobs and minimum wage is terrible and all this crap. Like, you know, there's no chance I would ever started investing or managing assets or building like real savings and retirements. Like that would never, ever, ever have happened. And so it's like this daisy chain for all these people. Like they all have steps they need to take in their lives. And for him to come and say that it's not right for them to grow themselves and figure out what they want to do and really have like a purpose and have an impact with their lives, it's just such a terrible, terrible thing to do. And he's like dragging others down until it gets to the end. And he realizes that the only way to have huge amounts of success and growth is to have everybody grow together. And as soon as that happens, he realizes that like this is the dream, right? Because the dream for him is to keep going and to keep going and to keep going and to succeed and have the impact that he wants in his life and in the lives of others. And for him right now, since he just doesn't know, he's just got to chill back, relax, and realize that like he has to care, but not that much. And so a lot of really, really great principles there, especially like if you're just getting started and you're just starting to figure out, you know, what you want to do with your life. It's a lot of really cool stuff. So yeah, awesome stuff. Sweet.